Welcome to the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. I'm Dr. Nikki.
I'm Dr. Alejandro Elias.
And I'm Dr. Gabrielle Manto. Together, we help wellness practitioners build profitable, scalable businesses without sacrificing their health, their families, or their freedom.
On this podcast, we'll talk profit, leadership, and ownership, so your business works for you, not the other way around.
This is the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. My name is Nikki, and I am one of the coaches inside of the Wealthy Practitioner. So today I want to talk to you guys about what we talked about last week, right? So last week I recorded an episode about how one bad week in business does not mean that you have a bad business. It's just one bad week. And after recording that episode, I got a ton of messages and comments about people going through the same crap. And so I realized that we should have another conversation about that and really talk about what do we do about it, right? Instead of just talking about it and venting about it. What are some things that we can actually do to help us pull out of this tough spot? And I do also want to say that last Friday, I talked to my team and we all reminded each other that it was just one bad week and that next week was a new week. And let me tell you guys, this week has been amazing. It's been awesome, back on track. Energy feels good, vibes are high, and every week can literally change from week to week, good and bad. And so that's when we just need to remember that we have to stay strong inside of this business ownership game. And because I know how easy it is to spiral when things feel hard, because I have been there and I still sometimes go there. So we have one weird week and just suddenly we're questioning everything. We're like, you know what? I'm just going to burn it down. We can have collections dip and you start to think all of your marketing has stopped working. If one of your team members is in a bad mood, you think that they hate you or your culture is broken or that everyone is quitting or that you need to fire everyone. A slower season might happen. Like I know for us, we're slower in the summer just based on where we live. And you start to think like, oh God, this is what it's going to be forever, right? And so we start just assigning massive meaning and feeling to just temporary fleeting moments. And if we're not careful, we will start to make emotional decisions in a season that just simply requires some perspective. So let's talk about what do we actually do when everything feels like it is going wrong inside of your business. So the number one thing that we need to do is check your numbers before you check your emotions. Now, I love to talk about numbers, stats, finances inside of TWP. Your girl loves a good spreadsheet. I've got a million of them and I just love them, right? I check them all the time. So we want to just look at numbers. What is the data actually telling us? What does the last 30 days say? What does the last 90 days say? What are our collections doing? What are leads doing? How are our visits? So don't just look at one number, right? Don't just look at, patient visits are down, client visits are down. Look at the overarching picture. We also really preach inside of TWP that we want you guys focusing on quarterly stats. We don't even really want you guys looking at monthly. Now, we want you looking at stuff every single day, but we want you to start learning how to look at things from a quarterly perspective because that is truly what matters, right? And then we can start to decide, is this actually a trend or was it truly just one stressful week? And so sometimes we emotionally react to one hard minute or moment in time in an overall very healthy business. And I'm definitely not saying that we ignore problems, but I am saying that we don't need to exaggerate them before we have perspective. And even one stressful month doesn't mean that the entire business or business model is broken. The second thing I want to talk to you about is do not isolate yourself. The first thing I did when I had a bad week was I texted my friends. And my friends are my mentors. So just know that Your friends that you went to high school with, those are probably not the people that you need to be talking to about your business, unless they also are business owners themselves. But you guys need to have mentors. You need to have community, and you need to have a solid group of people that you can trust to push you in the right direction and respectfully call you on your bullshit. So do not isolate yourself. Don't just shut down. That's one of the most dangerous things that business owners can do when things feel hard, is to just not talk to anyone about it. So you need to make sure that you're still communicating, that you're still asking for help, that you're still showing up to calls, you're doing the hard work, and you're putting it out there. You're telling people that things may not be going so great and that you actually need help. We also love to say inside of TWP that TWP is like your insurance policy, right? And so there will be seasons where you need us more and seasons where you need us less, just like car insurance, right? Hopefully you never really need it, but just in case, you always have it. That's what the TWP community is all about. We are literally always here for you, and so is the rest of the community. And we want you guys to lean in even more when things feel super hard. So you're just still showing up in coaching spaces. You're actually asking questions. You're engaging with your cohorts. And you're not trying to just make decisions and carry everything all by yourself. Because the problem when you isolate yourself is that everything feels so much worse when you're just going through scenarios in your own head, just like worst casing everything. So you start to make up stories. You start assuming that you're the only person who's ever dealt with this ever, that everybody else in all of America and all over the world who owns a business never has stress and has every single thing figured out. And you genuinely just start to believe that you're the only person who ever has a crappy week, or that you're the only person struggling. And here's the thing, guys. Every single person who owns a business, they have hard weeks, hard months, hard seasons, hard years. Hello, COVID. But the thing about business owners is that we have to experience pressure, because what that pressure does is it starts to shape us and mold us to be a better leader, to start to really figure out, how do I react and how do I want to react and how do I want to respond when things are getting stressful. And so every single leader, every single person who owns a business has had moments where things feel uncertain. And that is exactly why having a community of people who you can just talk to and be like, hey, yeah, I've been there too. I have experienced that myself. And we really just want you guys to remember that you are never, ever alone in building your business. And just can make sure you're just still showing up. Okay, guys, that's all I can really say. The next thing that I want you guys to do is stay in your routine. How easy is it to start feeling bad for ourselves and just stop doing all the things that we did? Number one, to be successful. Number two, to create the habits and patterns that built our business to begin with. So we stop tracking numbers. We stop checking our bank account. You guys better be checking your bank account every day, right? So we stop doing all those things that really provide clarity. You stop posting on social media because you don't feel like showing up. You stop having meetings because you think your team's mad at you or you're mad at your team. This is my favorite one, is that you stop doing CEO work. Right? Because business is bad, because it's got to be that 3 hours on a Tuesday that I eliminated from actually going into the office and seeing patients. That's why stuff is bad, right? Let me just add that back in just real quick. You stop going to the gym, you stop taking care of yourselves, and you emotionally start to check out. And so what happens then is now you really do start to lose momentum. And that is because you're just stopping all the habits that made you successful in the first place. So one thing that I have learned in the 11 years of owning a business is that when emotions do rise, structure matters so much more. So you guys also know I love spreadsheets and I love systems, right? And so that structure and systems, that is what is going to carry you through in those hard times. So you have to rely and depend on these things that you have created over the past several years to get you to this point. And so this is not the time to become inconsistent. This is really the time to triple down on the things that made your business grow and help to keep your business healthy. So even if you don't feel motivated, even if you feel uncertain, even if you feel like everything is really bad and you're so discouraged, you have got to continue to show up and do the things that you have done up to this point and continue to do it very consistently. The next thing that I want to say is please do not make impulsive decisions when you feel overwhelmed. So I can't tell you how many business owners will have one hard week and then suddenly want to change the name of their business, sell their business, change their whole pricing structure, give away everything, fire people, hire people, quit social media, just change everything overnight, right? We don't need to do that. Now, businesses always need to evolve, but they don't need to come from an emotional place. And they also don't need to come from this like feeling of discouragement of having that one bad week or bad month, right? So there's a huge difference between making a change that's strategic and just making a change because it was an emotional reaction or a decision. And just remember, guys, not every time that we feel uncomfortable doesn't mean that we need to pivot. Sometimes we just need to sit in the crap, respectfully. Sometimes we just need some perspective before we take action. Sometimes we need to have a conversation with people on our team. Sometimes we need to slow down long enough to determine whether this is actually a business problem or a personal problem, right? That is, all business problems are personal problems in disguise. One of my coaches once told me that, and it could not be more true. But a hard week doesn't require a complete identity crisis or transformation. All right, the next thing that I want you guys to do is look for actual bottlenecks instead of drama. So stop trying to blame it on other people. Stop trying to blame it on teams. Stop trying to justify why things are happening and look for actual things that may be contributing to this. So if our marketing slowed down, why? What's going on? If communication with team was off, why? When's the last time I sat down and had a one-to-one with a specific team member? Do they just need to talk to me? Do they need to tell me about something? Maybe our systems are weak. When is the last time that we stress test them? When's the last time that we tweak them? When's the last time we ask for our team's input on what's still working, what's not working, and what do we need to change? Maybe your schedule is completely overloaded. When's the last time you took a vacation? When's the last time that you took a day or two off out of the office to just relax and recharge? Maybe your cash flow is tight. Did you overspend last month? Did you buy something, a piece of equipment? Did you go on vacation? What does that look like? So is there a reason why cash flow is tight? This is so much different than just everything being broken. Starting to identify the constraints before making hard moments just feel like a catastrophe. So instead of saying everything is failing or everything is falling apart, and y'all, I might have said that last week, okay? I might have said it. Everything is falling apart, okay? But it wasn't. It genuinely wasn't. And so instead, I should have asked myself what specifically is creating pressure for me and my business right now. That question will create clarity, because once you identify what's actually going on, what's the actual bottleneck, you can start to create tangible changes to solve them instead of just emotionally spiraling. And the last thing that we all should do is we should always pause before we pivot. So strong business owners don't panic every time something feels difficult. They just pause. They sit in it, they assess, they gather that perspective, and then they make decisions from clarity instead of from emotions. So I think that one of the biggest shifts that happens as you mature as a leader is that you stop treating hard moments like emergencies. They just become part of the normal every day of running a successful business. And that is what true leadership is. And so if I think back to the leader or the business owner I was, even just 3 or 4 years ago, it is vastly different than it is now. My capacity is completely different. My emotional maturity is so much different. My risk tolerance is different. Everything is simply different. And it all happened from pressure and from making decisions quickly and learning and analyzing from all of my past mistakes, because I've literally made hundreds of thousands, right? So the goal is not to build a business where just nothing hard or nothing bad ever happens. The goal is truly to become the kind of leader and business owner who can experience a hard season without giving it the title or making it mean that everything is falling apart. Because just like we said last week, hard weeks are normal and pressure is normal. Growth can feel so uncomfortable. Let me tell y'all. Stephanie put us in the Sales Girls training, And yesterday we had a coaching call with her, and I spent 39 minutes on a hot seat coaching with Macy McNeely. And at one point I looked at her and I said, I am sweating right now because it was uncomfortable, right? She was like, do it again, do it again, do it again. I was so uncomfortable. And like realistically, it was like 5 people on the call, and 3 of them are people that like I spend so much time with, like Gabrielle, Brandy, Alejandro. Like they don't make me nervous, but my gosh, were my hives bad and was I sweating? Anyway, I said I was sweating, and she literally said, good. If you're not sweating, about to throw up or about to cry, it means that you're not growing. And I was like, damn. Okay. So if you want to grow as a person, I guess that the secret is feel like you're going to vomit or you're going to cry. I spend a lot of my life sweating, so that's good. It means I am constantly growing. And so just remember, guys, this temporary pressure that we're feeling as business owners, it doesn't mean that anything is wrong or that we're failing in any aspect of our business. What I encourage you guys to do is just stay connected to your people, keep showing up, keep asking the questions, and stay consistent with all the things that you've done to this point to get your business moving and growing to the point that it is at right now. Sometimes the difference between a business owner who spirals and an owner who scales and continues to grow is that they just continued to show up during those hard seasons. So you never want to look back and be like, wow, I really wish that I didn't give up, right? All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys took something from this episode today. When this episode releases, you guys are going to hopefully be joining us inside of the Gold Mine Stack Your Cash 5-Day Money Challenge. 5 full days of coaching with Stephanie. If you missed out on the opportunity for that, don't worry. We have a masterclass next Tuesday. It's not going to be 5 straight days of Steph spitting fire in your face, but she is going to teach you guys about profit and finding money inside of your business. So you don't want to miss that either. And what else are we doing? We're about to just launch another season of the 7-Figure Experience, now rebranded to be the TWP Mastermind. If you guys want to join us on the inside, it is by application only. So we don't accept everyone, and you have to come to a masterclass or a mini program or something to apply and get on the inside. All right, guys, I hope to see you all inside of one of those programs. We've got so much fun stuff coming up. Also, don't forget, in August, we'll be in sunny California in San Diego for our pop-up, which is now called the TWP Tour. And we are going to announce speakers very soon. And we have one female who's committed, who is a badass, who's been named inside the community, but not really outward facing. And a guy who's also not been publicly expressed yet either. So super excited to share all of that with you guys too. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. We will see you all next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. If you want to connect with other practitioners just like you, be sure to join our Facebook group at The Wealthy Practitioner, and be sure to follow us on Instagram. See you next week.